Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stands. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Lots to talk about. Some updates around the midfield situation, defence, players potentially leaving, which is always welcome, I think, as long as it's the right players. We're going to start off with Ander Herrera. It was a tentative story this morning that was in The Guardian that Manchester United and an Ander Herrera, reignition? No. Reunification, reignite. There is a word and I can't think. Reunited. That would have Herrera reunited. That would have worked quite well. So yeah, this talk that PSG need to sell a number of players and that Ander Herrera could be one of those players moving on, and obviously Manchester United looking for a midfielder. First of all, before I give you the definitive answer on this, because there is a definitive answer, would I take Ander Herrera back at Manchester United? And the reality is, I was thinking about it this morning and I thought, you know what? He's 32 next week. He's energetic. He's better than McTominay. He's better than Fred. He's arguably better than Matic, because I think Matic can't do it every week. Probably would take Ander Herrera back at Manchester United, but only because I think he's better than what we've got. And to be fair to you, Romu from Southampton's better than what we've got. So we're Manchester United. We should be looking for somebody who's better than what we've got. But obviously in the circumstances, I would take Ander Herrera back. He will not be coming back to Manchester United, and not because Adam Crafton of The Athletic has said it's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen. First of all, there was always a big lie about Ander Herrera. I loved Ander Herrera. I didn't want him to go. I was very unhappy when we let him go, and we didn't replace him. And a lot of people are like, I don't care if Herrera goes because there's better midfielders out there, which we never got. We never replaced Herrera. That was the frustrating thing. £25 million walked out the door a couple of years ago when Herrera went, and we never, and it was 25 million because he went for nothing. And we never replaced him. And to me, Ander Herrera befitted what a Manchester United player should be. He's passionate, energetic, understood what the football club was all about, loved Ander Herrera. He never should have been allowed to go. He will not come back because the things he's said since he's left the club, United are... The way Manchester United's run is they're very arrogant. They're very arrogant people inside that football club, and they don't like being criticised. I know this firsthand. They don't like being criticised. They don't look within and go, maybe we're being criticised by people who love the club because they love the club. But no, the way United work is with certain people in the corridors of power is if they get criticised, you get put on a list of, yeah, we're not going to work with those people because they've slated us. Actually, we're more passionate than you about United being successful. You're just there because you're the hired help. The reality is, Ander Herrera has said things since he left Manchester United that will have hit the bone with people like Ed Woodward and the people in the board there. You know, he basically said the club was run badly. That, he's been critical of how the club is run. They ain't going to bring Ander Herrera back. So... it's not going to happen for that reason. Some people would say it's not going to happen because of his wages, but there was a myth put out there. I wonder who put this myth out there. I mean, it could well have been the spin doctors at Manchester United. I don't know. But there was this myth that he's on 300 grand a week. He's on 150 grand a week at PSG. But the reason that got put out there is because there was arse covering from certain people that you had to basically say that Herrera had left for the money. Because if he hasn't left for the money, why has he left? Herrera actually left because he wasn't treated well by United. They didn't come to him with a contract offer until very, very late. And the contract he took at PSG really wasn't this stupid deal that people think. And the reason we know this is because we've just been through 3 or 4 weeks where PSG have been buying a lot of players on free contracts, and we've been seeing the wage bill at PSG. Everybody can see it. And Ander Herrera consistently is... quoted at being on 130, 140, maybe 150 grand a week. So this 300 quid, his wages are not the barrier. The barrier will be that United won't want to bring him back, and he probably won't want to come back to work under those people. So that's why Ander Herrera won't be coming back to Manchester United, because United won't go for Herrera, and I don't think Herrera would want to come back to Manchester United. If they could heal that rift, I would have him back. I would have him back. He's better than McTominay. He's better than Fred. He's a very, very good midfielder, and he gets what this club's all about. He never should have been allowed to go in the first place, but the deal won't happen for the reasons I've just said. Souček, why can't we sign him? We'd win the league. No, we wouldn't, Josh, because he's another box-to-box player. Why do people get obsessed with box-to-box players? Souček's a goal-scoring box-to-box player. We need a holding midfielder. We've got Pogba. We've got Van der Beek. We don't need another box-to-box goal-scoring player. Apparently that's where McTominay's best position is as well. So we need a holding midfielder. Neves would be fantastic. I didn't realise that dividends paid and the cost of servicing debt go towards your financial fair play threshold. Probably why we can never spend more than £70 million net, says Jimmy Garner. There's a lot you don't realise about how the Glazers run this club. So yeah, very, very interesting, as you've said there. A few updates coming in from Luckhurst in the Manchester Evening News. He's basically saying that Herrera, Jones and Lingard could still be sold before the end of the transfer window. If we got rid of those three people, I'd be very happy. Lingard, because I think it's good for his career and we'll get a bit of money in. Jones, because I don't think he has a career at United. And Herrera, because I don't think he has a career at United. So if we could remove those three players, I'd be very happy. But I'll believe it when I see it. Also, Eric Bay is starting to become a little uncertain about his future. I think that's very, very much expected. Obviously, Eric Bay signed a new contract with Manchester United a few months ago, had 1 year left on his deal. United doing what United do, preserving value without thinking that you don't preserve value if you don't play them and their value drops. But, you know, who am I to tell bankers how to run a football club? But we do this a lot. We give massive contracts out to try and retain the value, but then don't realise we're giving massive contracts to players that people don't want. Anyway, Eric Bay will soon realise that he's very far down the pecking order at Manchester United. Maguire and Varane, Lindelof will be next. Eric Bay will be fourth choice centre-back. He won't play much. He'll start angling for a move, and it will probably start around Christmas time. So expect Eric Bay to be leaving Manchester United at some point in the next 12 months. And then on Kamavinga, Manchester Evening News are saying that Manchester United are genuinely interested in Kamavinga, but some foreign journalists are exaggerating the story. And apparently one of those journalists told a source that they mentioned Manchester United to get more interaction. I'm like, is this news? Is this news? Manchester Evening News use stories to get Manchester United interaction. I mean, I'd like to say we do, but we're a United fan channel. We'll talk about anything. Of course, people talk about United to generate interaction. It's been going on for 50 years. This is why we get linked to bloody Schneider and Gaetan and Romero, the one who's gone to Spurs. We've been linked to loads of Jovic yesterday, prime example. We're not buying these players, but we will get linked to them. But for me, the takeaway point in that is that, well, how can you have exaggeration when you've got genuine interest? Luckhurst himself says that Manchester United are genuine interest in Kamavinga, but then goes on to say that it's being exaggerated by foreign journalists. Well, I don't know what the foreign journalists have said. I mean, we've had Romano on the show. We've had Mohamed Bahafsi, who've said that Manchester United are very interested in Kamavinga. But it's not developed any further than that. So how is that exaggerating it? We are genuinely interested. I'll take that from Samuel Luckhurst in the Manchester Evening News. That's basically what Bahafsi and Romano have said. We are genuinely interested in Kamavinga. It's not progressed to being nearly done, but yeah, I'll take genuinely interested every day of the week. Could United be waiting on Rice for next season, says Hammond? I will tell you this in absolute knowledge, because I know people who know people, and if we're waiting for Declan Rice next year, there's no way Declan Rice has said wait for me for a year. Not in a million years. Declan Rice wants to go to Chelsea. If Chelsea want Declan Rice now or next summer, they will get him no matter what we do. So we can wait till next summer and pretend that's the midfield option we're going for and hope that Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw can persuade him while he's on England training. But I'll tell you what, his best mate's going to be England training with him. His best mate's going to be rooming with him. His name's Mason Mount and he wants to go to Chelsea. So waiting for Declan Rice, for me, if you want to believe that, that's up to you. But for me, if we're waiting for Declan Rice, we're being conned, because that's the sort of story you can spin. We really want a midfielder, but we want Declan Rice. I don't know why I'm going David Attenborough. Manchester United really want a midfielder, and next summer they're going to buy Declan Rice. But we're not going to buy Declan Rice next summer, and if we get sold that spin, we are being spun. They've got to spin something, because everybody knows Manchester United need a midfielder. And United need to spin this story that this summer is the biggest success story ever. So they've got to spin it because they're scared of the fans. They've got to spin something. So how do we spin a story that we don't buy a midfielder when we need one? Oh, we want Declan Rice next year. That's what we're going to do. But you're not going to get him next year. So I wouldn't believe that as a story. Mark, did you see that Varane might and probably won't get number 4, says Oliver? Yeah, it's a very good point by Oliver, actually. Very, very good point. As we understand it, you could basically take this to the bank. Rafael Varane will not be getting the number 4. Some people were saying he'll be announced at 4 o'clock. He's the new number 4. Unless United have pulled a masterpiece of keeping everything closed Very, very good sources are saying that Varane will not get the number 4 shirt and that he's going to get a weird shirt. And that might be a superstition of Varane's, or it might be that United don't want to give the number 4 shirt up because of Phil Jones. I mean, to be fair, does it really matter? I mean, Sancho was more of a story because we all expected him to get 7 and he didn't. Ultimately, we've got Varane, but apparently he's not going to get the number 4 shirt. I'm not massively bothered. You could say it's sentimental FC, which is what I said on Twitter. You know, we friends reunited, whatever. We obviously don't want to, and I can understand it. You never know the situation that Phil Jones is in, and you might not want to upset Phil Jones. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a shirt number, isn't it? So you can see that, but then again, hypocritical because we did it to Anthony Martial with Zlatan. So, you know, it's all right to do it to one player, but it's not all right to do it to another. So, I don't know. Maybe Varane doesn't want the number 4 shirt. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. The number 4 would be retiring with Phil Jones, says Abarab. Varane is going to be number 12, says the best now. I don't think he's going to be number 12 either. I don't think he is going to be number 12. Apparently, the shirt number he's going to get is a surprise. Well, no, it's obviously a surprise, but it's going to surprise people. It's not the shirt number people think it's going to be. I personally don't really care about this sort of thing. I mean, at the end of the day, maybe they want... My mate messaged me this afternoon in a really bad mood. He'd watched the morning show, and he'd been like, you know what, you're right. We've only really bought Varane. Sancho was last year. They've sold nobody. They've got no midfielder. Get the bloody Glazers out. They're useless. And then he said as well, and I guarantee you the reason Sancho's not getting 7 and Varane's not getting number 4 is because they want double digits on the back so they can charge more for the shirts. And I was like, mate, you need to go down the pub. But realistically, I don't know whether that still works. Does it work like that? I don't buy shirts with shirt numbers on the back. But he was going mad. He was going, oh yeah, definitely. You give Sancho number 7, they've only got to get 1 number on the back. If you give him a double digit number, they've got to pay for 2. Give Varane number 4, only 1 number. Give him a double digit, they've got to pay for 2. And I was like, well, I don't know whether that happens or not. I don't know whether that happens. Do you have to pay for each individual digit? I suppose the Glazers have got money to make, I suppose. But I don't think that will be the reason. I'm just waiting to see if anybody knows. 1 + 3 = 4, 13, says Manchu. Will Herrera come back then? No, Herrera will not come back to Manchester United. If you've tuned in a little bit late, we've been linked to Herrera by The Guardian because PSG need to sell players and it's logical that he might come back to Manchester United. But, I mean, The Athletic are saying it's not going to happen because Herrera's happy in Paris and it will be part of the plans there. Maybe he is happy there. But the big reason it won't happen for me is because there was a falling out between United's board and Herrera. Herrera and Solskjaer get on well. Obviously, he still gets on really well with the fans and Mata and David De Gea. He never really wanted to leave United, but he was pissed off with the way they treated him at the end, and he was very verbal about it over the last couple of years. Loves the club, doesn't like the board. The board, knowing how the board work, will be very petty about it the other way. So it won't happen because unless they can mend that relationship, and look, just search Herrera on Google slating the club over the last 2 years and there's plenty of it. So he won't do it. But if that wasn't the case, I would do the deal because he's better than what we've got. And that there's a lot of other players I'd rather get than... Look, I'd rather get Ruben Neves than Herrera. He's younger, he's better, and he's more suitable for our future. But if you're asking me if it's nothing or Herrera, I would take Herrera because he is... I know exactly what he is and I know he'd fit into the team straight away and I know he could hold the midfield. Herrera could do the job that Matic does. So straight away you've got 2 people doing one person's job that you can share out through the season. The problem we've got is I know Matic can't do it every game. So when Matic doesn't play, we're going to use Fred or McTominay and I don't think they're either good enough. But if you brought Herrera in, I know he could replace Matic for some games and do the job really, really well across the season. Would you do a direct swap for Pogba and Verratti? Says Orgasmo. If Verratti wanted to come to Manchester United and run the midfield, I'd do a direct swap. But remember, Verratti is a Mino Raiola client, so, you know. And I don't think they'll be looking to get rid of Verratti. I mean, it's hard to see how Idrissa Gueye or Herrera will get any game time next season at PSG. They've bought Wijnaldum in. They've got Verratti. Who else have they got who can play in midfield? Marquinhos could end up playing in the midfield now because they've got Ramos there. They've got Danilo's there. They've got Paredes is there as well. So they've got a lot of midfield options without even using Herrera and Idrissa Gueye. So and also they might get Kamavinga. They might do. So they've got loads and loads of options. And you can't imagine how much time Herrera or Idrissa Gueye is going to get. Idrissa Gueye, would I take him at United? I don't know how old he is, now. I think he was I think he might be the same age as... look, the thing about Idrissa Gueye is he's 31. He's the same age as Herrera. He's 32 in September, so he's a month younger than Ander Herrera. Again, I probably would take Idrissa Gueye because he's better than Fred and he's better than McTominay and he's probably better than Matic, so I probably would take him, yes. My only problem with Idrissa Gueye is, and I imagine it's not a problem, I remember him from Everton and he was winning the most interceptions above anybody. He was brilliant. He was almost like I wouldn't even call him a B-Tech Kante. He was sort of like the top 8 Kantes. Kante's the top 4 Kante. He was like the top 8 Kante at Everton. I just don't know what his passing's like. Whenever I've seen him for PSG, he's been all right. But can he take the ball off the back four and run the game? But no, he might be an option. But, we're not short of defensive midfield options. It's just what we're short of is United's appetite to get one. Herrera played for us during a time we were lost and had no hope. We need to move forward, not backwards, and get a proper CDM like Rice, says Mark Friedman. He has got good passing, says Maynak. He's an option. Draxler's more of an attacking midfielder, Willis, so I wouldn't be really going for him. So yeah, we're not going to buy Ander Herrera, and it's more political than actually not buying the player, and the politics are that he doesn't get on with the board, and the board will hold a grudge with him, so it won't happen. But his wages are not a barrier. Don't ever fall for this lie that came out about Ander Herrera that he's on 300 grand a week. He's not on 300 grand a week. He's on about 140 grand a week. That was put out there by people to say that Herrera turned his back on the club for money, and he didn't. And it always pissed me off how some people in our fan base wanted to run with that story because it was obviously spun to turn people against Herrera because United messed up. They didn't offer him a contract. His contract ran down. And then he said, I'm going. You've treated me bad. I'm going. And he didn't go for 300k a week. He went for about 140 grand a week, which wasn't much more than what United were offering him. If Ander and Matic can rotate well, I wouldn't mind it at all for a last dance, as you say. Love the lad at the club. Yeah, it's not going to happen. As I said, it's political reasons it won't happen, but it would be an option. And I would imagine you'd get him for quite cheap as well. But as I said, there are plenty of midfield options out there for Manchester United. Hi Mark, Man United had 150 million for transfers, Sancho 73 million, Varane 43 equals 116 million. Not sure if the adds-ons and structures of the deal affects. Well, Kurt, you're quoting something that's come from a newspaper. I don't know where have we got 150 million pounds to spend. I don't think we've even got 100. Look at the structuring of the deal. Look at what we've spent. Look at what we'll probably sell. I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up with a net spend of about £70 million again. As I said this morning at the end of the show, I can name you 2 or 3 better transfer windows than this that we've had in the last 8 years. And the last 8 years haven't been great. But the one that springs to mind is the summer. And I don't remember who we sold. Because remember, it's not just about buying players, it's about selling players as well. The summer we got Pogba, Zlatan, Mkhitaryan and Bailly is better than this. Varane and Sancho are probably 2 of the best signings we've ever done. But when you're judging a summer, you're judging at filling the holes and removing the deadwood. We had 3 major holes this summer. We've filled 2. There's still a big hole in the midfield and we've sold no deadwood. So at least that summer where we got Pogba, which was a superstar, Zlatan was a superstar, Bailly was a centre-back that we needed, and Mkhitaryan was an attacking midfielder that we needed, we solved 4 problems that summer and we sold players. So, don't be blinded by the lights. Don't be the weekend. Varane and Sancho are fantastic signings, but the summer itself is not just about Superstar 2. Where's Superstar 3 and where's the deadwood gone? We really need a CDM, says Steph. Yes, we do. We should have got Neves, says it's Ole. I love Ander, but he's not the answer at CDM, says Chris. I don't think he is the answer, Chris. I agree with you. I don't think Herrera is the answer. But then again, he's better than McTominay. He's better than Fred. And I actually think he's better than Matic. Look, I like Matic, but let's be honest. Hardly played last season. Didn't set the world on fire. Played well against Wolves at the end of the season and played well for half of the game against Everton in a pre-season game. Let's not rewrite history with Matic. He did play very well with Donny in those 2 games. But it's 1.5 games. People are talking about Matic like he's one of the best CDMs in the club. He probably is the best CDM in the club, but he might not be that good. So Herrera might not be the answer, but he's certainly better than what we've got. But we're not going to get him anyway. We won't get him anyway. As for the time that Varane's going to be announced, I don't know. I actually don't know. United keep these things very quiet. I'd like to say it's going to be 4 o'clock. I'd like to say it's going to be 6 o'clock. I wouldn't have thought they would do it any later than that, but you never know. They might do it at 8 o'clock. They might do it tomorrow. I don't know. United, I saw somebody saying it today and they're absolutely spot on. You look at Sancho. Sancho's only just training with United. Varane's not even doing it yet. Messi was a Barcelona player 2 weeks ago. He's now playing and training with PSG. When Herrera played, we always looked more structured and he has a good passing range too. I would take him. He was so underrated for us, says Red Baron. And we don't really treat our players well. They reiterate by not getting sold and then earn a bunch after their contract expires. Sack the board, says Kanishka. Well, I think it gets forgotten a lot. Remember with Sergio Romero, how badly we treated Sergio Romero. I mean, it doesn't get mentioned enough. Sergio Romero was a really good servant for this club. Loved by a lot of you. Whenever he came into the team, he did a good job. He had the reputation as being the best reserve goalkeeper in the Premier League. Some people even wanted him to play first team football at times. Fantastic goalkeeper, fantastic servant to the club, did really, really, really good things. And then we basically let him rot for a year. He never touched the first team again. Appalling treatment of Romero by this football club. So don't forget, there is an undercurrent at this football club of treating players badly. Look at the way the women's team has been treated. You know, the manager left because of it. So underneath these status signings, there is levels of poor treatment to some of our players. But yeah, we won't bring Herrera back because I think Herrera's got morals and I don't think he'll want to come back to United because he doesn't like the board. No way Varane will be starting versus Leeds. No, Nav, not a chance. I think you're absolutely spot on there. Honestly, I think our board has got a low IQ, says Jamin Wright. Well, I don't know. I don't know really. I don't know where I sit with Manchester United's recruitment because they've done very well with Sancho and Varane. But over the last 8 years, I think they've been appalling. And to be honest with you, Mertens already been at this club. People think, oh, Mertens come in and he's not an external candidate. He's already been at the club. So he's already good mates with Ed Woodward. It's not like Ed Woodward's gone, here's your job, Merta, and he's gone, shut up, Ed, I'm in charge. They're mates. I don't necessarily think a lot has changed, but people wanted to rewrite the summer and say, oh, it's brilliant, we've got everybody. And I'm like, well, we've sold nobody and we've bought one player, which is Varane. Sancho, 90% of it was done last year. It's just the fee, as I said. So I'm not... Look, they've still got a few weeks to convince us, and I really hope they do, because I want to see United turning a page in their transfer strategy. But at the moment, I don't necessarily think that they have. But look, there is still a bit of time. Ollie doesn't want Neves, Solberg because he wants Rice only. Overpay this summer or Rice, a Chelsea player next summer. Ollie's not Pep. Demand CDM every summer, says Rahul. Yeah, we're not... I'm never going to fall for that joke that we're trying to get Rice next summer because we've got no free run at Rice. And then, you know, maybe we know more than United know then, because maybe they don't realise that Declan Rice wants to go to Chelsea. Ollie has expressed he's more than happy with the squad. If he doesn't get us a title charge, it's on him and he needs to go, says Spencer Silverstone. And Glazer's only doing transfers this summer to make the fans forget about all the rubbish they've done over the years. I will never forgive them, says Red Baron. You know what? It's funny, actually. You know Jordan on the channel? We've got a little chat group and we were talking about the game against Leeds and who's going to play in the middle. And Jordan was like, I think he's going to pick McFred. What does everyone else think? And I said, well, look, I do United Stand every day. I know the community. I also know how I feel. So I was like, if he picks McFred against Leeds, I'll be stunned because I don't think they're fit enough for a start. McTominay's hardly played and Fred doesn't look quite as fit as Matic and Donny. The midfield should be Matic and Donny, but he might go Matic and Pogba. He could go Fred and Pogba. McFred would be very left field. It wouldn't make any sense. And Jordan said, well, I think he will pick McFred. And I went, you know what? If he does pick McFred, he's basically chucking a load of pressure at himself from minute one because not many fans want to see McFred. Now, we might beat Leeds with McFred, but we're not going to win the league with McFred. So even if he beats Leeds, you're just moving the problem to the next game or the next game or the next game when they actually do cost us points again. So I don't think he will pick McFred much this season because I think if he does, they're symbolic of something that the fans want to move away from. I don't think anybody minds McTominay starting on his own or Fred starting on his own, but as a collective, they're symbolic of last season. And if Ollie picks them, he makes that symbol. He makes that connection with that last season. This defensive, pragmatic football. So I don't think he will pick them, because I think, imagine if we picked McFred and we drew, or we lost. From game one, he's just popped all the optimism and heaped a load of pressure onto himself. I don't think he will do that. I really, really don't think he'll do it. Of course he'll pick McFred. Did you watch last season? I don't think he will. I might be very, very wrong on that, but I genuinely do not think he will. Anyway, look, it was only going to be a quick show. I've given you the update on Herrera. Hopefully we're going to get some sort of Varane announcement in the next few hours as well. If we don't, I'm actually going to do the Leeds preview tonight, because we've got a big video for you tomorrow, which means I can't do the preview. So we're going to do the preview tonight at 7 o'clock. So tune in at 7 o'clock, because I'm doing a Super League watch along at 8 o'clock on That's Football. So 7 o'clock tonight will be the Man United versus Leeds preview. Unless we get a Varane announcement before that, I'll see you on that. Who do you think will start against Leeds, Mark? Says Tom. Well, tune in at 7 o'clock and you will see what I think as we do the preview. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video, subscribe, bottom right hand corner. I'll speak to you all in a bit. Thanks for tuning in.